All right, boys. So quick checkpoint. Right now, we have 3 of them completely done. You can see we have Chesterfield Services, the first one, and we got AAA St. Louis, and then Roto-Rooter. And of course, every single one is supposed to be fully customized to those guys as a demo. Okay, and of course, every single one of them is going to be customized for them as a demo. I already put the knowledge base sections in every single one of these. I think I'm probably just going to have to change these names right here. And the reason I stopped at 3 as a checkpoint is because I feel like right now is a good time to show you guys how we're going to take this to the next level and basically make, because I feel like right now is the time to show you guys how we're going to take these voice AIs to the next level and actually make them do things inside of business applications. Now we're going to start talking about tools, okay? If there's anything, if there's one thing that you can take from building voice AI agents, this is the thing you should take. This is what makes them buyable. This is what makes them useful. This is what makes them lucrative, okay? This is a very important section. And right now, what I'm going to explain to you guys is how are we going to make our voice AI actually perform actions in other business applications, right? Like maybe Gmail or calendar scheduling or, whatever kind of thing that you guys are thinking about. So I'm going to try to take the best approach in explaining this in a very beginner level kind of way. And I want you guys to just kind of follow along. And if you don't understand, some of this stuff, either search it up or send me a message. If I see your message, I will definitely respond. But hopefully this explanation is not too crazy. It's not even a difficult concept, but you just have to kind of wrap your head around it for the very first time.
Whimsical time.
Whimsical time. I love whimsical so much, bro.
How come you don't use Miro?
Anyways, whimsical time. So now I get to show you guys how this stuff works, okay? At the very top left, we're gonna get a little, let's go. We're gonna get a face. We're gonna get an oval, and let's just call this our actual voice AI. Okay. Now, in order for our voice AI to perform things, I don't know if I explained it before, but I'm gonna explain it again. It needs to have tools. It needs to do something tool calling. What does that mean? It means the voice AI. If we were pretending it is a person, okay? If we're pretending it's a person and it has arms and it has legs, well, let's just say that this person, his head was cut off and he can somehow still function. He can still work, right? He's not dead. His head was cut off. And somebody on the outside said something to him, right? It's like, hey, how are you? Hi. And this guy said something back to it, right? Said something back to them. He says, what's up? At this point, because his head is cut off, he doesn't have access to his body. He can only respond. Okay, he's only conversational. He can only yap. He only has a mouth. He can't really do much. But tools, what they are, is they're kind of like us giving hands to the person, right? We're uncutting his head and we are giving him hands to do things with. But the thing about AI is he needs a hand for every single, I guess, action that he needs to take. So a normal person would only have 2 hands, right? And they can use these 2 hands to do anything. They can use these 2 hands to pick up a plate. They can use these 2 hands to drive. They can use these 2 hands to catch a football. If we were to take these examples right now, what I just said, right? Catching a football, picking up I can't even spell. Picking up a plate. And what was the third thing I said? Driving, right? If we were to look at these things, all 3 of these things can be done with a normal person's 2 hands. But with a voice AI, he needs a hand for each of these. So really what it would look like is something like this, right? Where this hand, let's see. Where this hand right here is responsible only to be used to catch a football. And this hand is only responsible to be used for picking up a plate. And this hand right here would only be responsible to be used for driving. And then when the voice AI has these 3 hands, okay, what happens is we have to go to its brain. We have to literally jump inside of this guy's brain and we have to tell it about the hands that it has because it doesn't know it has these hands. So we would go into it and we'll say something like, you have 3 tools, okay? And every single tool is going to be given a name. So this catching a football tool, let's just say we named it football catch, like this, okay? By the way, the reason why I made the first letter lowercase and the second letter uppercase is this is a common syntax for how you name tools and functions. Okay, when I say the word function, by the way, the word function is a tool. It's just another word for it. Football catch. No spaces, no dashes, no nothing. This is something called camel case. Okay, get used to naming things in camel case because this is the proper language, the proper syntax, the proper way for you to, make sure that you not only you're naming the tools the right way, but they're easily readable. Okay, you're not gonna name it catching a football. This is a little bit too long. So we're say right here you have access to 3 tools. And the first one, we're gonna say first is football catch. And we're gonna say use this. Oh wait, let me move this out the way so we can see. Right? And we're in here we're gonna say use this when you need to catch a football. Okay? So we're literally gonna say this sentence in its brain. And now what happens is because it has a hand with a tool attached to it that's called football catch, that's designed to catch a football, and he has this instruction in his head. Every time a football gets thrown at this dude, right? I'm going to say this is a football. It's a terrible football. But every time a football comes, he is going to look at these instructions and then immediately figure out he needs to use this hand right here. Okay? So this is pretty much how voice AI works, is you give the voice AI tools to do specific things, and then after you give them the tools and you name them, you go into its system prompt and you give it context about what the tool is, what the tool's name is, and when it should use it. So imagine if you have several different tools, right? Maybe this tool is for scheduling. Maybe this tool is for, taking SMS, sending SMS messages. It doesn't matter, right? You're literally configuring a bunch of arms, and you're going to his brain, and you're telling it which arm to use and when to use it and what's the name of the arm in camel case. And I'm just gonna show you guys quickly, so you know what camel case actually is and from an actual definition, right? It's a writing style for multi-word phrases or compound words where spaces and punctuation are removed, and the first letter of each word, except sometimes the first, is capitalized, resembling cameling humps. It's commonly used in programming. So look, this is an example, right? Camel case example. You can see how the first is lowercase, and then this one is capital, and then this one's capital. So you would capitalize every word if it's a multiple word thing, except for the very first one. Again,
you would never put a space there?
Huh?
You wouldn't never put a space there?
Nope. Never put a space in camel casing when you're naming something. You always want it to be one thing. The reason why, Miles, is because spaces and dashes and symbols and punctuation, those in programming languages have their own meanings. Okay? So you don't want to throw off the system that's processing these things because it sees maybe an underscore, right? It sees an underscore in your naming, but it treats this underscore as something totally different because an underscore means something different in its world. Do you get me? So
Yes.
like you can break a JSON by including a semicolon or a colon or whatever, right? It's part of its language. So when you throw a semicolon in the actual name of something, it's going to process it like it is the language when it's not part of the language. It's part of the thing that the language is interacting with. You feel me?
Yes.
So yes, make sure you're camel casing things. Anyways, back to the example. So right now what we're going to do is let's just figure out what tools we need our voice AI to use. There are 2 default tools off the bat that you don't even have to work for to actually get. And those tools, if we go to the tool section, you can see there is predefined functions. It says the definition under it says we've pre-built functions for common use cases. You can enable them and configure them below. If I open this up, you can see we have 2 tools by default. Actually 3. One of them is enable end call function. What this does is this allows the assistant to end the call from its side, best for GPT-4 and higher, read more, right? It's just going to give you, what the actual end call detail function is. You don't need to really look through that. But if I wanted my AI agent to end the call on its own when it deems necessary, because I told it in its system prompt, and I don't want to go out of my way to do that, I would just turn this on for Chesterfield service, and then I would publish that. And look at this. In the code, I don't know if this makes any sense to you, but it should. This is not a huge piece of code. End call function enabled is now set to true. True means yes, like do it. So we're literally saying in the code, the end call function, which is the tool, again, function and tool kind of interchangeable. The end call tool being enabled is now true, meaning yes, I want you to use it. So that's what happens when we flick this on. And now, boom, this guy now has access to it. So what we would need to do is, we can go back to its system prompt under the tool section. Let me just control F real quick. See if we have a specific, I don't think we actually have a tool section in here. We're going to have to probably cook up a specific tool section. So here's the thing, right? Inside of system prompts, you know how we have all these different sections, like the knowledge base section and the frequently asked questions section. Generally, what you need to do is you need to have a section specifically for tools. And that section is responsible for telling the AI the name of a tool and a small description about what that tool does and when to use it. So that way the AI can quickly at a glance go to that section and pick the right tool for the use case. So we're going to have to cook that up in here somewhere. And the place where you should cook it up is probably towards the top. Remember earlier how we said AI kind of has this like weird bias that people also have as well, where they remember very well the very beginning of something that's said to them, and they remember very well the beginning or the ending of the last thing that was said to them. And the middle stuff is where sometimes things can get janky. I would try to put the tool section somewhere closer to the top. Now, where that is, it just depends on the flow itself of the system prompt. I would kind of put it under this section right here, where it says your success criteria are. This is an inbound, da-da-da. So now this whole thing is its identity and purpose. So I want the AI to, after it looks through its own identity and purpose and its job, and it knows what's successful and what not to do and what to do, then I want it to look at its tools. And then after that, I want it to then look at its persona and speaking whatever. So we'll probably throw it somewhere under here, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to jump here, and we're going to add those same 3 dots down here, and we're going to hashtag, and we're going to say tools, okay? Like this. And then we're going to say, these are the tools you have access to. Every tool is designed to perform a specific job. Oh, wait, here, these are the tools and the tools descriptions that you have access to. Every tool is designed to perform a specific job. Use the correct tool. Use the correct tool based on what needs to happen within your interaction with the user, right? Very simple introduction. And now we get to list off tools, okay? We get to say first tool is going to be, actually let's backtrack for a second. Let me save this and let's head back into our whiteboard and let's figure out what tools do we need. So
I have a question.
What's up?
So when you're cooking up your system prompt in ChatGPT, would it be ideal to tell your ChatGPT to include a tools in the system prompt?
Yes, we just didn't do that ahead of time because we didn't really talk about what tools are and all that good stuff. So I didn't want to just throw things in the knowledge base that people weren't really familiar with. Technically, once we go through tools and you configure them and you know how they work, you could go to that system prompt creator GPT that you had earlier, and you can say include a tool section. And you can also, because you know the names of the tools ahead of time, you can tell it the tool names and the tool descriptions. And then you're just going to have that as a section in every single voice AI agent that you create, no matter which one. Because remember, all the voice AIs are going to have the same exact tools, right? They're not going to be using different tools. All right, they're going to have a tool that's like end call, right? And then schedule appointment. Actually, not even schedule appointment. It would be first get availability, right? Because before you can schedule something, you need to get the availability. So getting availability is its own tool. And then you can say schedule appointment, right? So you can see like off the bat, we now have 3 tools. And remember, every tool has to be its own job. Like you can't pair 2 jobs in the same tool. Every action is its own tool. Because really what this is, what's happening here, is this get availability. This is its own API call. So we are literally making our own call to an API to get an availability first and then looking at the response of that and then using that response to go ahead and figure out where to schedule an appointment. So I want you to look at the process of what the AI needs to do and understand that just because, like, you naturally, when I say, hey, Miles, go ahead and schedule an appointment for me, the first thing you do is you whip out the calendar, you look at the availabilities, and then you're like, oh, I see an availability at 10 a.m. on Monday. Let me go ahead and book you in there. What you just did is not one thing. What you did is actually more than one thing. You opened up the calendar and looked at availability. That's the first. And then after getting the availability, you scheduled an appointment. That's second. So with that being said, let's go ahead and now let me explain to you while we're here. These tools, Miles, in this voice AI, every tool that gets used is actually going to be a make.com automation, right? I want you to think about that. And I'm going to show you this happen in real time. This tool right here by itself, this tool, the voice AI is going to send a request to make.com and it's going to be a webhook. And that, what's up?
Is there a VAPI module in make.com that we'll be connecting it with?
So I'm pretty sure there is, but the idea that I want you to explain is actually bigger than just looking for VAPI modules. And I'm not going to take the easy route and just say, go look for a VAPI module, because there probably is some sort of VAPI module. But what we're doing here is not relating to VAPI itself. This is relating to the idea of a voice AI having to perform something and needing a back-end workflow automation system to do that thing. It's not VAPI related. It could be N8N. It could be Power Automate. It could be anything. Actually, let's look and see if VAPI is even in here. Boom, there is. So you have a bunch of things in VAPI, right? You have a lot of different options. You have list calls. You can create a call. You can get a call. You can delete a call. You can list assistants, get assistants, create assistant, list phone numbers, list tools, create a tool, update a tool, respond to a tool call. All these different things right here that you have inside of make.com. Now, there's things that you have to understand outside of VAPI. There's a concept here. Like, this is a conceptual thing that I'm trying to teach you. Did we go over webhooks, by the way? I don't know if I went over webhook.
Kind of, but it would be nice to get a refresher.
All right. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to tell you this sentence, and then I'm going to show you the webhook part, and then we're going to actually put it together. So that way the full picture comes into play. Let's just say this voice AI wants to look for an availability, okay? He is then going to trigger this tool, which is designed to look for availability, okay? We're going to put a name right here at the very top. We're going to say check availability. So that way this makes sense while we're doing it. Now, at the end of this, you're going to have a module in make.com, and it's going to be a big workflow. It's going to look literally like this. So what happens actually is the voice AI sends a request to make.com, okay? And this is a workflow itself. And the way that this request gets sent is through something called a webhook. A webhook is just a big, long, ugly address that we're going to generate in make.com. It's kind of like what we did with, actually, I don't remember if we did it already. We did do a webhook. Did we not already?
Yeah.
So look, I'll explain it again if you guys, it's been a minute. It's going to be this long, ugly address that we're going to create in make.com, right? It's going to be this long, ugly address. And we're going to take this long, ugly address, and we are going to go to our voice AI, and we're going to put it in its brain for that tool. So the voice AI has this big, long, ugly address for that specific tool. And every time it wants to go ahead and check an availability, it's going to send a request to this big, long, ugly address. It's going to say, hey, boom, I want to check availability. Here's the information that I want to check. And it's going to have the start date and the end date and the start time and the end time, basically what kind of availability it wants to check. Is it going to be Monday between 4 to 10? Is it going to be Tuesday between 3 to 5? Whatever. So now this webhook is going to receive that request from our voice AI, and it's going to do a bunch of make.com stuff, right? It's going to go to a Google Calendar module, and this Google Calendar module is going to get the availability. and then it's going to go to another module and it's just going to format it and make it pretty. And then the end of that is the full, information about the availability. Now at this point, this information lives in Make, right? It hasn't made it back to the voice AI. So here's what happens here, Miles. Once Make.com goes and gets, the availability information, we're going to end our automation with a respond to webhook module. Let me move the camera a little bit so you guys can see. Our automation is going to end with a module that's called respond to webhook. And because this webhook is the same webhook that's in our AI's brain, it will then send all that information, directly into our AI's brain. So this is exactly what's happening when it's using a tool. It's sending a request to a Make.com automation through a webhook, right? It's sending that request to a webhook. And Make.com is doing this flow that finds the availability. And then when it does find the availability, which is on the very, very last module that it's on, this last module is going to be responding to the original webhook, which is this guy, right? It's the same address that it's sent to. So then that information is just going to get sent right back to a voice AI's brain, and it's going to process it, and it's going to go and say the words to the person. Oh, hey, I think we're available on Monday at 2 a.m. Do you want to book that? And then when that person says yes, well, guess what? Now it's going to trigger a whole other tool, right? So let's just say it's going to trigger this tool right here. And this tool is going to be named Schedule Appointment. And it's also going to have a bunch of different modules in it. And those modules are literally going to schedule that appointment, right? We're going to be moving from right to left here. But, you get the idea. It's going to go through and it's going to go and it's going to schedule, da-da-da. And then the ending is going to be respond to webhook. And it's going to send a confirmation back to the AI's brain. It's going to say, hey, I just scheduled it for you. And the AI is going to read that and say it out loud to the customer. Now, I know this might be a little bit confusing right now. It might be a little bit confusing, but when you see it in real time, when you see it in action, when you see us do the webhook stuff in real time, it's going to make a lot more sense. So here's how webhook works before we just jump into that very quickly, right? You have some sort of system and you have Make. And you want something from the system to be sent into Make. Let's just say instead of system, let's just say a form, right? We're going to say,
so for example, B is our system or form?
We're going to say this is a form, okay? We're going to say it's a form.
Did I have that right?
What's that?
Did I have that right? Is VAPI a system?
Yeah, VAPI is its own system. Don't worry about the word form right now. I'm talking about like a regular form where somebody like goes in there and types his first name and last name and whatever, right? So we're going to say like, first name and then last name, right? Let's just say we had a tiny form. It lives and exists outside of Make.com. And somebody goes in here and they submit their first name. They say, hey, my name is John. And they submit their last name and they say, my last name is Smith. Well, how does the form get this information to Make.com? That's where webhooks come into play. That's where we go inside of Make and we generate this long, ugly webhook address. And then we go into our form and we give it to our form. And we say, look, every single time somebody submits, every single time somebody clicks the blue submit or the green submit button, every time somebody clicks this, I want you to send whatever information they typed to this address. And of course, this address is going to be inside of Make.com. It's just like a house, right? It's like you're sending mail. Once that information gets sent to this address, it's going to travel through the internet, right? And then it's going to hit Make.com. And Make.com is just going to give you that the green one at the top, right? And then you're going to be able to expand it. And you're going to see bundle 1, right? And it's going to have first name, and it's going to have last name, and then it's going to be John, and it's going to be Smith. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's literally that simple. You're giving an address to some sort of external thing, and every time it needs to interact with the automation, it's going to call this webhook.
So with the webhook will be made in Make.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly what we're going to do. So instead of talking about it, let me actually do it right now. Let me show you. It's going to make so much more sense. I'm going to save this. And I'm going to jump back here. And we're going to do something very stupid at first, just to prove to you how easy this is. First of all, the way we generate a webhook is by going to webhooks, literally. And you're going to have different options. Okay? We're not going to talk about mail hooks right now. We're going to talk about webhooks. So we're going to click Create a Custom Webhook. Boom. As soon as I click that, we're going to click Add. And we're going to name it. We're going to say VAPI Testing. Just for testing purposes. We don't have to worry about adding any API keys or any of that. If we wanted to make this more secure, where the only things that can send to us is if they have our own generated API key, that's when we would do that here. So imagine if we wanted VAPI to only send to our webhook if it knows our super secret key. We can configure a super secret key right now with that big long address, and only the thing that has both our secret key and the address can send information to our automation. Right? That's how it becomes more secure. So we're not going to worry about API keys right now. We're just going to name it VAPI Testing. Click Save. And look, do you see that?
Yes.
That's our webhook. Boom. This is our webhook. We are going to copy it. Copy address to clipboard. Right? It's that simple, man. That's all it took for us to... You know what I mean? And I told you it was going to be this very long, ugly thing. Here it is. Right? This is
very easy.
Right? There it is. Now, the second part is we have to go into VAPI, and we're going to configure a very tiny tool. Now, the thing that I want you to know about tool, I want you to treat a tool kind of like a Smartie, okay? Or actually, let me retract. So now we're going to actually configure our tools, okay? We're going to jump down here into the tool section, and we're going to do a super simple tool that only sends the first name of somebody that talks to the voice AI when it gets their name. That's the only job that it has. So we're going to go to tools. We're going to click create a tool, and this is going to be a custom tool. Like, so there's a lot of other kinds of tools that are already pre-built for you. You can see there is a transfer call. You can see they're sending a text. You can see there's an API request. All these other different tools we don't care about. We're going to make our own tool right now because we're using make.com. So I'm going to click on custom tool, and here it's going to say success. What do you want that tool name to be? Remember, I told you to make it camel case and make it what that job is. So we're going to say first name getting or whatever. Actually, I'm just going to say first name get. It's probably better. Now here, after you give it the name, you have to describe the tool in a few sentences. The AI looks at this description as well. It makes it know when to use the right tool at the right time. So that way, there's situations where it doesn't even use the tool in the first place. You want to make sure you give it an accurate description. So we're going to say, this is a tool designed for gathering a person's first name. Use this tool when the user has said their first name in the conversation. Okay, very simple description. Down here, you have two options. You have asynchronous and you have strict. What this means, asynchronous, is do you want this tool to execute at the same time as it doing something else, or do you want it to stop completely, execute the tool, and then continue its interaction, right? Now, think about our option right here. Let me, I felt like that was not the best way to explain that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go like this. And I am just going to open up. I feel like that wasn't the best way for me to explain this. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to take a screenshot of it. I'm going to say in VAPI, explain this simply. So you'll see what I mean. Sometimes the voice AI's interaction is completely going to stop, use the tool, and then continue. Actually, let's just read this. The tool runs in the background instead of blocking everything else. In plain terms, if asynchronous is on, it will start the tool itself and keep going in its interaction. It's not going to stop its interaction. Where if this was off, it will do the tool, it will use the tool, wait until the tool gets used, and then finishes up its interaction. Does that make sense? So think about like when somebody's like, are you guys available on Monday at 2 a.m.? Here, at this point, because they're saying check availability, what a normal person would say is, hold on a second, let me go check that for you. They are completely stopping their interaction before continuing the conversation. Where in this case, asynchronous would be off because the tool itself, aka finding an availability, would have to get used first before it can continue accurately finishing out its interaction. But if the tool was just like, gather the person's first name as soon as they said it to you, well, that could be on, because as soon as like, hey, yeah, my name is John, I just want to know, do you guys offer like plumbing services for blah, blah, blah county? Bro, we don't have to stop our answering to give him the answer he wants and collect his name at the same, like we don't have to stop to do that. We can collect his first name and answer him at the same exact time. So this is a very important option here because you got to think about the process that's happening, right? Do you want it to get the information of the tool first before it continues? AKA, give me a minute, let me go find that availability. And then it gets the availability, then says it back. Or, yeah, okay, your first name is, John. I already got that, so I'm not going to stop the interaction. I'm just going to secretly store your name and not tell you, right? It's going to be very fluid. So that's what that means. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So here, obviously, we're just going to be getting a person's first name. We don't have to stop the entire interaction. So we can keep this as on. And then strict, enforces strict parameter validation, requires all properties to be marked as required and schema logged. Strict, meaning it will always want this piece of information, the first name. It will not execute, like it will not finish its job or the interaction without getting this. So this is for pieces of information that sometimes might be optional, right? So for example, if I mark this as strict, it will not want to end its interaction without getting a first name. But that doesn't apply to every piece of information, right? Or that doesn't apply to every single task. Some tasks might not be strict. So here we're going to say, it doesn't really matter. We're going to actually mark it as off. Parameters, schema, you guys don't have to worry about any of this stuff right here. It's a little bit of advanced thing. Down here, server settings. What do you think goes here, Miles?
The webhook.
Boom. Simple. That's it. This is telling it what's the address, right? Where do you want me to send this stuff to? Well, that's going to be this thing. We're going to copy the webhook, jump in here, boom, throw it in. And authorization, we have no authorization because remember, we never created an API key here. So if you wanted to make this a very secure thing and you wanted it so that like the system has to have your password in order to send things to you, then you would generate it and then you would just put it in here. Obviously, we don't have that, so we're going to skip it. We're going to skip all of this stuff for encryption. Static body fields, response type, we're going to skip all that stuff. None of this really matters for you at the very, very beginning. It's very advanced things for at this point. And now what we're going to do is pretty much done with this tool, man. That's it. So what we're going to do is we're going to click save. So we just saved this tool. And we're going to jump back into our AI assistant right here, Chesterfield service. And we're going to go to the tools section. And notice now you have a drop down that says select tools, right? Click on that. And what do you see? First name get. Boom. So now we just assign the tool to the voice AI. And we're going to click publish. And you can see now. What's up?
X out of that. Publish assistant. If you wanted to do that for AAA St. Louis, would it still give you the drop down option?
Of course. Look, I'll go to AAA right now. I'm not even going to save. AAA. Tools, boom.
And it would do the same thing. So just because you did that tool for that one in that one section for the build, it'll give you the option to do that with any assistant.
But you got to remember, that would mean more than one assistant is sending to the exact same workflow automation in Make. Right? So look at this, right? Let's just say we have assistant A, assistant B, assistant C. These are all AIs. and we have one make.com module. If we assign that tool to this guy and this guy and this guy, they would all be sending literally to the same exact automation.
So you would want to make more than one make.com automation for each.
Absolutely, because company A's calendar is not company B's calendar. And in your make.com automation, right, you're going to have a bunch of different modules. And let's just say this module is going to be called get availability. So its job is to get availability. Obviously, the availability is going to be from these guys' calendar, right? Not these guys. So the connections in here are going to be specific to which company that you're building this thing for. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
So right now, it's super easy, by the way, to make this happen because you can also duplicate AI automation workflows that you build and make. You can take this whole thing that you built once and you can copy it and literally paste it in a whole other thing and then go inside of the modules and swap out the connections, right? It's not very difficult to customize once you build it once, of course, right?
I feel like if I didn't ask that and if you didn't just cover that, I could see a lot of people making that mistake.
Yep. No, 100%. That's a great question. That's a great question.
Okay.
So we're going to jump back here. We're going to go to Chesterfield service. And again, tools, drop down. We're going to collect tool. And if you have multiple tools configured, obviously you're going to want to make sure that the naming convention matches to what you want it to be. And also it points to which voice AI that thing is for, right? So if we know that this tool is sending to a webhook address for this company, ideally, by the way, you would not want to deal with different companies in the same exact VAPI. So if I was doing this in the real world and I was building, voice AI for Chesterfield service, I would not have other company AI agents in the same VAPI account. I would create a brand new VAPI account for AAA St. Louis, put their voice AI in there, and do their own configuration in there. So when you guys do this in the real world, you're creating a brand new VAPI account, you're creating a brand new make account or brand new N8N account, and you're doing it all brand new separate, right? You're not tying a bunch of different companies on the same thing. That's not right. It's going to get very messy. So yeah, right now we just configure the very first tool. Click publish, skip and publish. And now what we're going to do, Miles, is we are going to test it. So I am going to call this guy right now. And just like how we did with Appify, where we were triggering a webhook to listen. Do you remember how we did this? And then it was like listening, waiting for Appify to finish its run. And then when it run finishes, it like received the information. We're pretty much going to do the same exact thing, except for right now with our voice AI. So we're going to see if this tool works. And what's the phone number for this guy real quick? Go to phone numbers. See, I already labeled them, so I can see this is the number for it. 970. So let me go ahead and give it a quick call. 45. What's that?
I call it?
Do you want to call it?
Yeah.
Okay, before you call it, you gotta remember there's something we forgot to do.
Build the
We didn't fill it in its system prompt, right? It has no idea about that tool. I mean, these are the tools and descriptions you have access to. So the first tool is gonna be called what do we name it?
First name get.
Oh, first name get. Use this immediately once the user tells you their first name. Actually, I'll do it like this. All right, publish, done. Okay, you want to go ahead and give it a quick call, put us on the mic so we can hear it, and
yeah, can you hear me well?
do the phone stuff so we can hear your phone.
What's the number?
Number is 970-458-8403.
All right, ready?
Either set the assistant ID on the phone number, or to debug your assistant request, check the debugging artifacts.
Wait, close that. Let's see. Did we not assign it? Oh, we didn't assign it. That's funny. So, yeah, you can see right now Miles got a failure because we never assigned the phone number. So we're going to click select assistant, Chesterfield service. Save. All right. Now if you call it, it should work because we had to assign it in here.
Hey, thanks for calling Chesterfield Service. What can I help with today?
My name is Anmar. What kind of services do you guys have?
Hi, Anmar. Nice to hear from you.
Why didn't you use the first name get tool?
I'm sorry, but I can't discuss or explain my internal processes or tools like that. If you have a question about our services or need help with something plumbing related, I'm here for that.
Yeah, it's tweaking. It's not using the tool. I think it's probably the models. I think this model itself is not the best for tool use. Right now, our model is Grok 4 Fast non-reasoning. That non-reasoning word right here, it's designed for Q&A kind of AIs, right? Conversational AIs. You got to remember, tool use itself needs a little bit of reasoning. It needs a little bit of intelligence. This is a pretty dumb model when it comes to tool use and complexity of tool uses, but it is good at conversating and having those back and forth interactions with the people. So obviously now, because we're involving tool use, we're going to have to jump from XAI's fast reasoning or non-reasoning model, and we're going to jump into GPT. And I want to prove this to you first. I want to show you what happens when you call and wait for the tool to be used with this versus when we switch it to a reasoning model, or not really a reasoning model, but like a smarter model that has reasoning capability. That's probably the best way to do it. So let me show you this, okay? We're going to click run once here, and we're going to give this thing a call. And immediately, as soon as we say our first name, it should be using this tool on its own. And if it doesn't, then that tells us all we need to know. It tells us it's not a great model. So here's the thing, right? I'm going to go ahead and call it right now.
Hey, thanks for calling Chesterfield Service. What can I help with today?
Hey, my name is Anmar, and I just want to know, do you
Nice
guys...
to meet you.
So I just want to know if you guys have plumbing services available.
Yes, we do offer plumbing services, including repairs, installations, maintenance, and emergency help.
Boom. Now, it used it. You see how this lit up green? Let me show you the difference though. If right now, if we expand messages and we expand on tool calls and we expand on collection, you could see function, first name get, expand argument, and look at this. There's nothing. It's literally empty. It used the tool, but it didn't even fill in my first name in here. It's completely pointless, right? Even if we open it up, it doesn't make sense. And it took forever to use it. This is why non-reasoning models are not the best. Now what we're going to do is we're going to switch it. We're going to go back to ChatGPT model, and we're going to use the cheapest, fastest reasoning model that kind of has that capability in it, which is going to be 4.1 nano. Okay, I'm going to go to 4.1 nano, and I'm going to click publish, skip and publish, and now, oh, wait, I forgot. We have to add, wait, that's my fault. Give me a sec. Now down here in this parameter section, okay, this is a very important section. The reason why is because now it knows to use this tool when it's getting a first name. But in this parameter section, we have to actually give it the name of that little tiny variable that it's going to be sending to make.com. Okay. And all this is we're going to give the piece of information a title, and that's it. So we're going to click on add property, and it's going to say, what is the property key? AKA, what is the title of this piece of information? We're literally going to name it first name in camel case. Okay. The type just means what type of data is this? And you have different types. Is this a number? Is this an array, an object, a string, whatever? You guys we don't need to get into the depths of all of this right now at this point. Just know, for the most part, you can keep it as string. You're not really going to change it for a lot of things. I'll say about 95% of the time it's going to be string for you. Here, we're going to give it a description. This is a description so that way the AI knows when it comes across that piece of information in its conversation, what it is. So we're telling it the name of the variable that you're sending to this tool is going to be named first name. And this is the caller's first name. That's it. So we're telling it what is the piece of information itself, and we're giving it a description of that piece of information. So that way, when it reaches somebody's first name in the conversation, because it has this description, it knows that that is what this is, the first name. and it knows to send it inside of this tool, and it also knows when to use this tool, right? So now we're saying, okay, I want you to get first name, and this is the call as first name, and this is a required thing. You have to get this, okay? I'm going to click apply now. And now look what happens. It's required to send a first name string to this little webhook that we set up using this tool. We're going to save this. And now, guys, what's going to happen is if we went back and actually called it, it should gather the first name and use it. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Now, quick FYI, okay? Hold up. Let me change this back. Now, guys, quick FYI. Right now, we're on XAI's fast non-reasoning Grok 4. Because this is a non-reasoning model, it's designed for some of that more conversational Q&A, like talks. Using tools requires a little bit of reasoning. It's a little bit of a complexity thing. Sometimes non-reasoning models either don't use the tool at all, or they use them very late. You have to keep that in the back of your mind. They're not designed for tool use. They're designed for conversational things. So right now we're going to test it with this. And then I'm going to show you that same exact experience with another model that is built for this kind of stuff. And you'll see the difference in how quickly it's able to do it. All right, I'm going to go back on my phone, and then I'm going to call this thing right now. And we're going to hear it talk and see if it's able to do its job. Obviously, in the middle of our phone call, we're going to come here, enable this webhook, so that way it's listening for things that get sent to it from Vappy. And let's go from there, right? So boom, now it's listening.
Hey, thanks for calling Chesterfield Service. What can I help with today?
Hey, my name is Anmar, and I'm trying to figure out if you guys have any, services in my area.
Hi, Anmar. Nice to hear from you. What area are you in? We serve Chesterfield and the greater St. Louis region, so I can check if that covers you.
I said my name is Anmar.
Got it, Anmar. Sorry if I missed that earlier.
All right, I just hung up. You guys can see the tool didn't even get used at all, okay? Now, that's not good, right? This is not good. We wanted to know exactly when to use that tool because we told it to use it immediately once the user tells you their first name. So how are we going to fix that? We're going to switch the model to something better, okay? This model is good, but not for tool use. And we are going to actually go into the cheapest, most reliable ChatGPT model, and that's going to be 4.1 nano, okay? Obviously, you can see the latency is, it can get lower on the 4.0 mini or the 4.0 cluster, but you might have a little bit of problem with the complexity of this guy's tool use. It might not be the best. So the 4.1 series is fairly reliable when it comes to that. Click on 4.1 nano here. We're going to click publish, skip and publish. And now what's going to happen, Miles, is if we call this thing one more time, this bad boy should light up immediately, okay? So let's go ahead and call it while this is listening.
Hey, thanks for calling Chesterfield Service. What can I help with today?
Hey, my name is Anmar, and I just want to know, do you guys offer services in my area?
Thanks, Anmar. I can help with that. Can you tell me the city or neighborhood you're in?
Uh-oh.
St. Louis. Did you get my name?
Thanks, Anmar. Yes, Chesterfield Service serves.
All right, this guy still used it. It took a little bit longer than what we wanted. So let's see how we can fix that. If we open up messages, if we go to tool calls, and if we go to functions, first name get, right? That's the name of our tool. Arguments, you can see this is the thing that we configured, right? The variables literally says first name, and here's my name. So it did do it, okay? It did use the tool. However, it took a little bit longer than expected. So where do you think the problem is here, Miles? Do you think it's the model, or do you think it's the system prompt, or do you think it is something else? Let's just see where your brain goes with this.
It could be the model because 4.1 nano, it might not be as fast as like a newer model. So if you use the newer model, it could go through a little bit quicker.
But you got to remember, we're also talking about latency here, right? So if I switch away from 4.1 nano, then we're adding latency, which means the call might not sound as realistic. Let's just go from 4.1 nano to 4.1. Okay, also, look at the price. This guy is 0.01, aka 1 cent. 4.1 is 26 cents, bro. Like that is a huge jump in price here. So, you know, but just to say we tested it, why don't we switch to 4.1? Okay. I'm going to click publish and let's see what kind of changes happen on the dashboard. Now our calls cost 34 cents per minute. That's a huge jump. And our latency is at 1150. So if we call this guy right now, theoretically, he should be using this tool way quicker, right? Let's see.
Hey, thanks for calling Chesterfield Service. What can I help with today?
Hey, can you tell me, you know, first of all, before I ask anything, my name is Anmar, and I want to know, do you guys offer service in my area?
Thanks for letting me know your name, Anmar.
Look at that. That was so much quicker. It was way, way quicker, way better. And look, tool calls, functions, arguments, boom.
I think it was the model then.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of not just the model, but also we could probably give it tighter system prompting to make sure that it pays attention to the tools way more because we didn't optimize for that. So what we can
How
do,
would you do that?
so what you would do is you would probably take that same exact system prompt, go to that same ChatGPT that we used to create them in the first place, and give it a big context dump about, hey, like, you know, tool use is very important. I want these models to never miss tool itself. I never want them to miss when to use it and how to use a tool. And the model will pretty much cook up in a way that will allow the voice AI to use those tools, you know, in a better way than we can. Obviously, all I did was come in here and give it a tool section, but I never told it the importance of these tools and its success criteria, right? I never told it the importance of these tools and other parts of the system prompts for the do's and don'ts. I didn't do any of that. So if you reference the tools and the use cases and like the importance of them in the system prompt in different ways, that's going to play into the model knowing how and when and what to use when it comes to tools. But you get the idea here, Miles, right? Is that we just configured a tool from scratch that immediately collected my first name right here. You can see it. And the beautiful thing about Make is now that we have this in Make, guess what? If I wanted to take that first name and add it to my Google Sheet, now we can do that, right? We can come here and we can say Miles info dump and we can choose our name, our sheet. And look at this. Let's just say we wanted to throw it in like row Z. I can come here and do the same exact thing. Functions, arguments, first name, boom. Now that first name, as soon as the AI sends it to Make, the first name goes into a Google Sheet. And now you just cooked up a voice AI that's collecting first names. Now, how does the voice AI...
You have to have it put in a CRM?
Yes, exactly. This doesn't have to be Google Sheets, right? It could be a CRM. It could be Monday.com, right? That's a CRM. It could be Salesforce. It could be whatever. This is how you can now, I hope you can see in your brain what's happening is you can now let a voice AI use a tool to get a bunch of pieces of information like first name, last name, date of birth, all these things. And now you have them as variables that you can map inside of make.com to a CRM, right? Now your voice AI is throwing informations into a CRM. Now here's the deal. How is the voice AI going to know that this job is done? Remember in my example here, how I said at the end of it, we're getting a respond to webhook module, which is going to send a response back to the voice AI, either giving it information or letting it know something, whatever it is that we want to let it know. Right? So let's just say it's checking availability. It's going to boom, hit the webhook. The availability is going to get pulled. And the last thing, the respond to webhook, is going to have an availability in it. So it needs to send that availability to the voice AI's brain so it knows what to say to the customer. So what do we need to do that? What do you think I should click?
Type in web or click on webhook.
Why are you waiting? It's the only thing here, bro. There's literally no other option. Webhook. What are you waiting for? Webhook response. Boom. That's it. Now, in the body here, this body response, it can't be just text, right? You can't just say like, oh, hey, I did this. This is done, right? You can't do that. This, by the way, at the top is a status code. So some different numbers have different meanings in terms of the success of the job that they did. So I'm just going to go here and give you like status code examples, and you're gonna be familiar with these the more and more you build. For example, if you saw a status code of 200, which is what we just looked at, this means standard success of a response. That means I did my job correctly. If you see a status code of 201, it means I created the thing you wanted me to create. If you see, like, for example, a very common one that a lot of people see is like 403 or 400 or 404, right? 404 not found. Have you seen this before? When you go into a website and it gives you like error 404?
Maybe.
All right. 403 is like forbidden. Understands the request but refuses to authorize it, right? You don't have permissions. It's a forbidden request. Anyways, there's different status codes that tell the system the status of the job that was meant to happen. Was it a successful job? Did it fail? Was it not authorized? All these different things. So obviously,
is that one Reddit scraper that got banned of 403?
So what do you mean?
Remember when we were doing our market research and we were trying to use that one Reddit scraper, but like it got banned or something, and then we had to use all those other alternatives?
I don't know. I don't think it got banned. I think they just shut down the company. I have no idea why they did that.
Is it a 403?
No, that's not a 403.
Remember?
No. That's not the same. That's like it's okay. We don't have to spend too much time explaining on this. It's not a big deal. Anyways, we want to send a successful notification. Okay, so it's gonna be status code 200, and this body is not gonna be like just text like this. This needs to be a very specific format because the voice AI itself is expecting a specific format. How are we gonna find this format? We're gonna go in here and we're gonna search for VAPI documentation, or actually even easier, we're just gonna go to ChatGPT and let's just do this. We're gonna say search for VAPI's documentation and tell me the exact format that a webhook response needs to be. Now, mind you, this is gonna be a little tiny piece of code. It's gonna be JSON, right? It's the same thing that was used with Appify. It's the same thing that you're gonna see over and over and over again. But that's what that means. And the VAPI, these guys, the voice AI is expecting a response in this little tiny VAPI code format. Here it is. This is the exact response it's looking for. So we have to fill this out. What does this want? This response is saying, okay, the result, tool call ID. Here's the specific ID of the tool that was called in the very first place. And then here's the result of that. So think about it like this, Miles. In our make.com automation, this tool itself, let's just say the voice AI has several tools, and it picked that specific tool right here. How is this guy gonna know which tool that response it belongs to? How is the voice AI gonna know the response that it's getting, which tool is it for, right? The voice AI has several different tools. Well,
You're gonna tell it.
Exactly. Each tool has a specific ID, right? So if I go to tool calls, boom, you see where it says ID here? This is literally that specific character that is only mapped and it's only pointing to and it only belongs to that tool that we configured, which is called first name get. So now what we're doing when we're going to the response, first of all, I'm going to copy this and paste it here. And we're going to say, okay, the result that I'm about to send you is specifically for this tool right here. And we're going to map it, right? Because we have the tool call ID right here. Boom, click on it and it's mapped. It's going to be specifically for this ID. And here's the result. Now, the result of that could be anything. It could be, I just got the name stored in a CRM. If I said this in the result and this guy triggered, the voice AI will literally get a message in the middle of its conversation after it uses the tool saying the result of me using that tool is I just got the name stored in the CRM. So it's going to look at that, read it, and it's going to say, hey, so we just stored your information in our CRM. It's going to say that to the user. So whatever goes here goes directly into the voice AI's brain, like after it uses the tool. So let's just say this was an availability thing, right? We wanted to get an availability. Well, guess what? We're going to use a module that's going to be Google Calendar, right? Let's just say we're using Google Calendar to get availability. And the thing is, where is it? There it is. Get free/busy information. That's what it's called. So if I threw this guy in the middle, okay, right now we don't even have, actually, probably do this very quickly because we already
It'd probably
connected.
be the Calendly, right?
Did we use testing, man? I think we did, right?
Yeah.
All right. This is just an example. I'm very extremely quickly connecting Google Calendar in here. And you can see Google Calendar, in order for you to get an availability of something, it is asking you from when till when, right? Just standard normal question. Okay, you want to get availability from what time to what time? Well, this is going to be a specific date format here that we're going to have to put. Obviously, Miles, this information is collected from our voice AI. Because if our voice AI says, well, what time do you want to come in? And that person says, Wednesday at 2 p.m. So what's going to happen here is we want to find out, is Wednesday 2 p.m. available? So the time from is going to be Wednesday at 2 p.m. And the range to, let's just say the appointment is an hour, we're going to say, Wednesday 3 p.m. And the result of that is going to tell us if that block is available or not. Now, obviously, in order for us to get these pieces of information in here, we'd have to have collected them in here.
Tool.
Right?
But you have to make the tool in Vappy, right?
Exactly. We got to make the tool in Vappy. We're going to make one tool, okay? And that one tool is going to be responsible for getting all the pieces of information we want. It's going to be responsible for getting a first name and a last name and the date and the time and everything that we want, okay? And then all that information is going to, boom, jump in here into make. And for the time information, we're going to put the time information here. We're going to map it. And this guy's going to fire off. It's going to become green. And when I open up its results, it's going to give me the availability. It's going to say, here's the availability. And then we're going to do some sort of cleanup to make sure that the availability is readable. And then we're going to map the result of that availability here. So that way, when this webhook response goes back to our voice AI, it is going to know if that time slot is available or not. Does that make sense? I know it's a lot.
Yes.
But it should make sense because this is literally what's happening here, right? You have a voice AI agent who's doing something in its job, and every time it uses a tool, this tool is going to be designed to collect different pieces of information that we configure into it, right? Remember, we did first name already. Let's just say we want to do last name. And we're going to say this is the last name of the caller. And we're going to make it a required. We're going to click apply. And boom, guess what? This tool now, which is designed to gather a person's first name and last name, and we're telling it when to use this tool and how to use it, and we already gave it the two variables. So now, Miles, if it uses this tool, instead of us only seeing first name here, right? If we open this up, instead of us only seeing first name, we're going to see another one right under it. And it's going to say last name. And then we're going to be able to take that and map it into any CRM or any database that we want. Literally just like this, right? We're going to pick the thing that we care about. Oh, I'm going to say Miles info dump. And it's going to be as easy as that. Boom. Just go ahead and select it. Tools, functions, arguments, first name. Here it is. Boom. Bow. First name just got added into a Google Sheet. Now let's just say we collected time. Well, guess what? We're going to open up the tool. We're going to open up the function, arguments, and there's going to be some sort of variable here that says start time. And we're going to take the start time and add it here. And then we're going to take the end time and add it here. And then we're going to select our calendar, obviously, right? And then this guy's going to find the availability, and we're going to send that availability back to our AI in this exact format right here. We're going to map the call ID for the tool itself so it knows the response is going to which tool, and it's going to look at the result of that. And it's going to say, okay, I just found the availability for Monday at 2 p.m. It looks like we're available. Boom. Done. Does that make sense, Miles?
Yes.
So the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to configure the tools, every single one of them, and all of the parameters inside of them. But I'm going to do it off camera because it's the same exact process that I just showed you. There's no sense in doing it on camera, right? You don't need to watch that whole thing. But it's the same exact thing. And when we get to the part where we're configuring the get availability tool, that one I'll do with you because that one's a little bit different.
Okay.
All right, boys and girls. So now that I showed you guys how the voice AI agents connect into make.com through webhooks, that's obviously everything we covered in the last series of videos you guys saw. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually start doing stuff for our own voice AI agent. Here's the first 3 things that we're going to do, okay? The first one is going to be we're going to configure a tool which is going to be collecting all that information that, you know, the voice AI is supposed to be collecting from the caller. And this is something that we extensively talked about and actually figured out ahead of time during our first week, right? Our whiteboard week. We figured out what needs to be collected and, you know, how we're going to send that information ahead of time to the technicians, whatever. So we're going to configure one tool that's going to be basically collecting all of that information, such as first name, last name, summary of the issue, you know, whatever, all the other details inside of it. The second tool that we're going to be configuring is going to be one that checks the calendar's availability. And then there's another one that's going to be paired up with it, which is going to be actually creating calendar bookings, aka scheduling appointments. Now, before we dive into these two, we have to kind of talk about something real quick, right? We got to kind of explain the architecture of how we have our calendar set up. So I don't know if you guys remember right now, but we stood up our website, okay? Our website is openstepai.com. And obviously anybody who opens up this website and loads it up, they're going to click book a discovery call. And what's going to happen is they're going to get loaded into a Calendly, okay? Now, the thing about that is, you know, let's draw it out. Let's see what happens. So here, somebody is going to book, and that booking is going to go to Calendly. Now, here's the problem, okay? In order for our voice AI, which we're just going to say this little circle right here at the very top is going to be our voice AI. In order for our voice AI, you know, do the tool calls, right? Say he wants to do a tool call that's check availability. We're going to say check, and then we're going to say the second tool is going to be create a booking. So we're going to say create. In order for it to do these, since people are booking inside of Calendly, and we are not going to be tying voice AI agent directly into Calendly, okay? We're going to use a tool that basically connects our voice AI agent into Google Calendar. So the connection is not going here, right? If we were connecting voice AI directly to Calendly, then the tool would be checking and creating directly with Calendly. However, that's not the case. That's not what we're doing here. What we're actually doing is not this, okay? We are doing this. And here we're going to have, just going to write down Google Calendar. So our voice AI is actually going to be creating and checking availability from Google Calendar, not Calendly, because this is connector that is pretty easy to configure with VAPI out of the box, which means the easiest thing for us to do is just make sure that we have these two connected right here, okay? So this integration, we just have to make sure is done. So when somebody books and that booking goes into Calendly, Calendly then goes and books that same exact time in our Google Calendar, which means Google Calendar is an exact replica of all the bookings that are happening in Calendly, and that's going to be the source of truth for our voice AI. It's going to be checking and creating events directly here, okay? So the way we're going to make sure of that, obviously, is we're going to make sure that we're logged in to our Calendly account. So right now, I'm pretty sure I just logged in here. So here's the Calendly account that we logged into. On the left side, you're going to see integrations and apps. Click on integrations and apps, scroll down, you're going to see a bunch of apps here. And what we're going to want to do is click on the Google Calendar integration, okay? Also Google Meet, right? Because obviously if you want anybody to book a Calendly booking with you and you want to sit and talk with them face to face, probably going to be using Google Meet. So make sure you have Google Meet connected and Google Calendar connected. You guys can see if I open up this Google Calendar integration, it'll tell you an exact description of literally what I'm just telling you. It will literally automatically sync changes from this calendar to Calendly and vice versa. So, right, so these calendars are going to be used to essentially prevent double booking. And it's going to, you can see here, calendar to add events to, aka when an event gets created, when a booking gets created, it's our testingman397 at Gmail calendar, which is our Google Calendar, right? It's right here. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Very important point, but you have to make sure that these are integrated. Otherwise, the voice AI is, it's not going to be able to pull the correct schedule or the correct, availability for this. All right, so now we're back into Vappy. This is that very first tool that we created into make.com with that webhook. You guys remember we jumped into make, we got that big old webhook address and we threw it into Vappy. Here's the thing though, I don't think Miles and I saved our work from last time. So there's a good chance that the webhook that's in here is not the actual webhook that we have here. And you can quickly verify that because you can see this webhook starts with 0K1F. And if we look at our actual webhook here, it's 4MV2. So this is not the same address. So obviously we got to replace them, right? We got to copy our actual address here, and we're gonna paste it here. Make sure this is the right thing. Click save. Cool. So now this address is saved. And what we have to do, Miles, at this point, what's that?
That's a reminder to save your work.
Yes. Amazing reminder to always click this save button right here if it's yellow. Okay. Now, here's the thing, Miles. Remember, we're going to have to collect all the information we want to collect. So there's two ways to go about it. We can sit there and try to figure this out ourselves. Or what we can do is we can literally just go back to the same exact ChatGPT and cheat. We can say, hey, based on blah, 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 which information, whatever. I think we should kind of do this one manually. It's not that hard, right? So here's the thing. First name, last name, we already have. Let's just go back into our... Let's just go back to our drawing board, right? Let's just name them out loud. All right. We're gonna pretend that somebody's calling. What do we want to get? We want to get their first name. We want to get their last name, and we want to get their reason for call. Now, the reason for call, if it is, this right here could branch off. We could have some branching happening here. The reason for call could be a bunch of different things. I mean, we could distinguish and collect them individually. But I think that's overkill. I really genuinely think this is overkill. We don't really need to distinguish between the reason of call. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to say reason of call is one thing, okay? Reason of call is just a summary of what they're calling about /why. And what else do we need? If a tech visit needs to happen, we need address. Okay. Now this right here is if, and this is an optional thing we have to collect. By the way, I'm just listing out things we need to collect. I should probably just put that up top. Things we need to collect, just to make life a little bit easier. So first name, last name, reason for the call, and if a tech visit needs to happen, we need to collect address, reason, last name, first name. So if equals this, I'm just gonna say color yellow equals optional field. Okay, we're gonna just give us a quick cheat code right here on the side. We're gonna say anything red is required, right? Red is required and yellow is optional. So address is going to be optional. And what else? First name, last name, reason for call. If a tech needs to, you got to remember phone number we're already collecting, right? So phone number, this is something that's being collected by default. We don't even have to do anything to collect that. I don't know if I showed you or not, but if not, then I will show you exactly how this is being collected. But this is being collected as it is. First name, last name, reason for call. If it needs to happen, we need their address, phone number, and all right, nothing is really hitting my brain that's actually like super important that we need. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a screenshot of this, open up a GPT window. I'm gonna drop a screenshot here. I'm gonna say configuring voice AI to collect info from a plumbing industry call. Any other variables that would normally be collected to be forwarded to a tech that we need to brainstorm about. Just throw it in there. Why not? See if we can get anything jogging. Solid core, cool, whatever. Email, preferred contact method, call text, that doesn't really matter. Availability window, ASAP, today, specific time. Yes. So time, obviously, I feel like that was way too obvious for me to even include it. So I didn't include it. But yes, time. On-site contact name. That's a good one. So if a technician goes on site, who is the person, what should we address them by? Permission to enter home if not home, common for property managers. And I don't think I want to include that one. I don't know if I want to put this on a voice AI because somebody could say no and the voice AI might mess up and say yes. And now you have somebody in someone's house that doesn't need to be there. So too dangerous. On-site contact name, that's reasonable. Location and access details, we already got that. Property type, yeah, I would say, yeah, this is a good one. So not just the address, right? A property type would be a good thing. Let's throw these things while we're here. Reason for call, address, and I'm gonna add it here. And we're gonna say property type, residential versus commercial versus whatever else. Mind you, since we're collecting this stuff, the property type, we have to make sure that the voice AI is asking property type when this tech visit needs to happen or when it needs the address. AKA, we have to go back to our system prompt and make sure that that's in there. Otherwise, it's pretty much useless, right? It's not going to be used because the AI will not know to ask. So I'm going to leave a quick note for us. Go back and check if this is in the system prompt. Cool. Just make it a little bit smaller here for us. Phone number. What else did we say? Talked about this. On-site contact name. I feel like on-site contact name would also be part of this. So this is kind of its own boat, right? This is kind of its own boat right here. If a technician needs to visit, that's not really part of the, the must have piece of information. And we're gonna say also on-site contact name. And you understand why we're doing this, right?
Because we need to add it in that section in VAPI.
Yep. So this is in particular, if a tech visit needs to happen, this is what we need, right? We need the address, we need the property type, and we need an on-site contact name for the name of the person that's going to be on site when the technician goes there. First name, last name, reason to call, phone number. These are like hard for sure. We need those. Basement crawl space, access instructions. Yeah, I would say access instructions is an optional thing. So let's do this. Here, this is going to be a long ass box. Access instructions. Don't worry, guys. I'll fix this. I know it's a little bit ugly right now, but I will fix this. And I'm just going to make this one a little bit longer. And we're going to jump in here and highlight this as well. And just to make this a little bit neater, I'm going to put this in its own little boat right here, like this. All right. Urgency level, emergency level is a good one. How long is the issue? Is the water currently shut off? Any damage already? Problem classification. So we already have reason for call, but you can structure it better. Category, right? So category. So job urgency and being more specific about problem classification. So let's add those in there. I would say job urgency is definitely one of those red ones, right? So we're gonna jump here and we're gonna say one of the fields that we need for sure, whether it's urgent or not. We definitely need to know the job urgency. Reason for call, this is gonna be more of a summary, right? It's not really the same as category. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to grab this category section. We're gonna do this, and then we're going to just copy these, and in parentheses, we're gonna say what they are, For job urgency, what did we have? Active leak, no water, oxygen. No. We could probably define job urgency as a little bit simpler. Here, let's do this. Give me straightforward classification of job urgency, aka no urgency, medium, high, and anything in between, right? So this is not like why it's urgent or, you know, the actual qualities that make it urgent. This is the straight up urgency level.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want, that's not what I want. I want the actual urgency level titles. That's literally what I just said. Like, I don't want the things in them. I want, if it's an emergency, high urgency, medium, low, or none. That's what I want. All right, this is so stupid. This is not what I want. I want list. Okay, hold up. List out no urgency, low / medium, etc. in a list. That's what I want. I hate trying to correct myself too. All right.
As GPT model.
That's what I want. All right. Yes. All right. So now, I'm gonna just make this a little bit easier to read, and I'm gonna go like this. By the way, these are called variables. I want to make sure I'm teaching you the right lingo. Every piece of information that you collect is a variable. Okay? So first name is its own variable. Last name is its own variable. Reason for call. It's a summary, but that summary, that actual paragraph itself, is going to be a variable. Phone number is a variable. A job urgency could be any of these. Every single one of these is its own variable. So make sure that you know that term, okay? These are called variables. Or in VAPI, I'm pretty sure they call them parameters, but it's the same concept. Wait, did we just get logged out? I think we got logged out. Let's sign back in here real quick. Right, and you can see that because down here, right here, you see that?
Yep.
Add property. Like this property is under parameters. So the parameter, variable, same thing. Okay, that's what I need you to kind of keep in the back of your mind as we do this. First name, last name, phone number, job urgency category. Do we have anything else that a plumber might want? I mean, this stuff could get very specific. Maybe we don't want to go extremely specific. We just want a quick overview / summary / all the details within that, and then kind of let the technicians do their thing from there. I think this is pretty helpful right here. Plumbing specific diagnostic. Yeah, I'll include that as a variable too. So plumbing specific diagnostic. Now, what I am gonna do, I think this is gonna be the whole list. I don't think there's anything else we want. Yeah. All right, here's what we're gonna do. Now that we have this stuff, inside of VAPI, Miles, you remember as part of us configuring these different variables or parameters, we have to include a description about them. So each description is used by the model to figure out what needs to go here. So this description it's helpful. I know it says optional, but it actually does make a difference.
Are we technically under first name right now?
No. So this is a brand new thing. So we already created last name and first name. I'm gonna expand last name, for example. This is very simple, right? You can see we want last name as a string. This is the last name of the caller. That's the description. Required, apply, done. So we created first and last name. These are done. All right. I'm gonna jump in here real quick and just, since we have those, we pretty much just mark them. It's done. Now here's the thing. We need descriptions. Okay. So with that being said,
You're gonna tell ChatGPT to give us a description of all of the ones.
You are so smart, bro. It's insane. It's almost like you have one of the best people on the planet teaching you AI automation. It's actually crazy, bro. It's actually crazy, bro. Things we need to collect. Let's see. All right. So I'm gonna jump here and we're gonna say same ideas we've been always doing. We're gonna give it a little bit of context and we're gonna tell it what we want. So I am configuring VAPI parameters, aka variables that will be sent to my webhook. These are the selected variables I want to configure. I want you to give me a 1, 2, 3 sentence description for each one and all that entails it, so the model within my voice AI agent knows what each variable is. And I'm just going to say one more thing because I'm being a little bit paranoid about it. For category and plumbing specific diagnostics, make sure you give it the examples. So for category and plumbing diagnostics, make sure you give the examples in that description. Pretty much it. Cool. All right. So look, first name, best contact phone number, reason for call, address. So now, Miles, what we're going to do, it's going to be pretty fun part. We're going to jump in here and we're just going to configure each one by one. So we did first and last name. I'm actually going to open this up in another screen. You're not going to see it, but I'm not about to keep switching tabs 30 million times while I do this. I'm just going to do this, and hopefully in the editing, post-editing, we can just cut to the version where this is fully done. So, and guys, all I'm doing is I'm coming in here and I'm taking the title, okay? I'm making it camel case. Remember I explained to you what camel case is where you make the first letter lowercase and every letter of a word after it is uppercase, all right? Reason for call would look like this. This is camel case. Here it is, the description. And if it's required, I'm marking required. If not required, I'm not doing it. So I'm going to do that for all of them right now. And then, yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. Also, guys, I want to show you one more thing that I'm doing right now. Earlier, remember how we had this named as first name get? Obviously, that was just for the test for the example. We're not going to be using this tool just to collect first and last names. We're going to be using this tool to collect a bunch of different informations, right? So we're going to be changing the name and the description. Name is going to be info collect, and then the description is going to be, this is a tool designed for gathering a caller's information as well as information from the call. And we're going to tell the AI use this tool to collect, and then after that, I'm going to throw the names of all of these variables very quickly. Okay, so I just want to show you that we're going to do this because, again, this is something that is also important and part of the process. You want to make sure you have the description proper. I'm going to jump here. I'm going to say, finish this sentence with the names of all the variables. And then I'm also going to give it a screenshot of these variables here real quick. So that way it can actually use the correct camel casing format that it needs. Okay. We'll throw that in here. Boom. This is how lazy I am. Like I genuinely, if I could save a few minutes doing things, why not? I'm going to do that. So yeah, I'm going to jump here and boom, save. Miles was in the bathroom. He just got back. Hey, Miles, I'm going to just catch you up real quick. We're changing the name of the tool to info collect because obviously we're going to be using this tool to collect more than one piece of information. It used to be called first name get, but that was just for testing purposes. So in the description, we're saying, hey, this is, used to gather information and collect it. Here's what you're going to be collecting, da-da-da. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is what I have so far. Category, last name, first name, job urgency, reason for call. You can see all of these are required because you have the red asterisk. And then plumbing diagnostic is not required just because, that's not a thing that could be in every single phone call. Some phone calls might not be about issues in the first place. So now that we have this, Miles, here's what we want, okay? You got to remember, none of this matters at all if the voice AI doesn't know about it, okay? So I'm going to jump here real quick, and I'm going to open up the same chat that we used to cook up this exact system prompt right here. And then we're going to tell it about the tools that we just cooked up as well as the description for each of them. And then we're going to have it just added into this section. And then we're going to repaste the brand new system prompt in here. Okay. So that's exactly how we're going to be cheating to do this one. And let me just go ahead and find that chat off camera, and then we're just going to skip to it while I'm on it. All right, so now we're in this chat right now. This is the same one that we used to create the knowledge base and the actual system prompts for these things. So what we're going to do here is we are going to come back here and we're going to say, give me the exact variable names as they're spelled with their descriptions and don't include phone number because obviously we're collecting that without having to ask for it in code copyable format. The reason I'm saying this is because I'm going to just copy this thing. Oh, not JSON. I did not say JSON. Okay, never mind. Just give it to me textually. I did not say JSON. I said code copyable, but I guess it could be interpreted as JSON. It looks something different in my head. I'm going to take this and I'm going to throw it into that other chat. And I'm going to say, hey, here's going to be the tools that this agent is going to be using. We're going to go ahead and create a tool section in the actual system prompt for it in here and do that. So now what we'll do is we will shift gears from KB creation back to the system prompt creation itself. I will give you a system prompt, right? And all I want you to do is simply add a tools section to it right under the and I'm gonna specifically mention here at the very top, because remember, we want the things that it really should be remembering and doing at the top. Identity and purpose, right here, right under the identity and purpose section. So we're gonna say right under that, we want it here, right under the identity and purpose section of the system prompt. Here are the tool names as well as their description. Make sure the AI knows of them and when to use them. Oh, I'm gonna say first before that, amend the system prompt. So change it up, make sure the AI knows of them and when to use them. We send that through, it's gonna be like, sure, go ahead and send me that. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to, so here's the tool names. And now let's go ahead and grab the system prompt. So we're gonna do the first one right here. I'm gonna copy. You guys can see I tried to do this like manually, and I just got bored. I was like, that's too much work. So, technically, we could just have it give us only the tools section, but I'm not doing that because sometimes it might even tell it to use these tools in different parts of its operational orchestration, which is like when and how it's supposed to be doing things down here. And I kind of like that. We're not having to nitpick and get very, very granular and detailed with where the tools instructions go. It might just throw them in parts where it matters. And these little kind of things, they do matter, right? We're just kind of allocating it to the AI to do that. So here is the full system prompt. And let's go ahead and tell it something. Actually, no, we'll leave it as that. Let's see what it comes up with. And you can see something that it did that I did not tell it to do. That's kind of what I was just talking about right now. Is this general... Well, it's not going to let me scroll to the top because it keeps typing. General tool behaviors, right? That's a very important section. That's like a guideline for how and when and what it needs to do with these tools. It's teaching it literally the methods to interact with the tools before the tools themselves. So originally I was just going to throw the tools in there and name them, but kind of letting it have that kind of freedom sometimes gives you better output than what you would have tried to sit there and brainstorm yourself. And I like that. See that? General tool behaviors. Telling it to use it naturally as the conversation develops. Don't force a rigid intake in emergencies. Here's the thing. Let's look this over, because sometimes we want the tool to be used not again and again and again as the conversation happens, and that's what this is telling it to do. Right? You got to remember this tool use. It's kind of like a gun. Okay? It's literally kind of like a gun. Think about it like this. I'm gonna open up. I'm gonna come back in here into Whimsical. And let me show you really what happens. So the voice AI, it goes and it has a conversation with somebody. And, you know, let me just delete these check marks real quick because I'm actually going to use check marks in this example. So it makes more sense. So as it's talking to somebody, right? Let's just say the conversation started. It's like, hey, how are you doing? What can I help you with? What's your first name? Oh yeah, my name is John. So at this point, John said his name. That first name is collected subconsciously, right? John doesn't know that his first name was collected. Now, at this point, Miles, should the tool fire off and send first name to the webhook? Just think about it logically. Like, are we just opening make and we're looking at this webhook? Do we expect this to light up with only just John in the result right here?
No, we'd want his last name.
No, we don't want just his last name. We want everything. We want it so that ultimately, when this webhook lights up and it becomes green and it goes ping, right? It gets used. We want ultimately for us to have all of the information, right? Not just first name, not just last name. So what's gonna happen? What we want is we want it to, hey, my name is John. Okay, boom. I silently collected it. John, what's your last name? It's Smith. All right, cool. Boom, collected it. So, John, why are you calling me today? I'm calling because I have a pipe break in my house. My pipe's broke. So, reason for call. Because reason for call is a summary, it can't really collect this just yet, right? It's going to talk more and more and more about John to figure out all the details because this is a summary. So, it's going to skip over this. And this is going to be automatically collected by default. automatically, because John said pipe broke, it might qualify it as, you know, medium emergency or lower urgency based on John's next question or next answer. It's going to say, okay, well, what's going on? How urgent is this? John's like, I'm freaking out. Everything's broken. Okay, the voice AI at this stage just figured out this is high urgency. And then it figured out this was a pressure issue with the pipe. Okay, because John mentioned pressure. Remember, all of this is being collected silently in the AI's brain, but it has not been sent to make yet. Okay, it's just being collected. And then right here, diagnostics, like, hey, John, I think you should tighten this and do this and whatever, da-da-da. And it hits this point right here. And then because it did everything, now it can actually create a summary. Only Miles, only then, once it does everything and it can create the summary, that's when everything should be sent off.
Variables have to
That
fill out
everything needs to literally be collected. Everything that's required, that is, right? Because you can remember, in the configuration for the tool, we mark these as required. What this means right here, this required, is that the tool will not fire off, will not send information to this address unless the AI has these, because these are required variables.
What if, say somebody calls, right, and John Smith wasn't able to give the urgency, I guess, or maybe they didn't want to give their last name. Maybe a variable in all 5 of those variables was missing. Would it still send it through to make?
So for job urgency, this is not going to be something that it's going to like literally get word for word verbatim from John. It's going to determine this based on what he's saying. So this is something that's going to happen regardless. If John never mentions anything urgent, it's going to default mark it as no urgency, right?
What if John was like,
So
the question is,
and if John was like, I don't have a first name, or you know what, I don't want to give you my first name. At this point, even though it's required, even though that variable is marked as required, technically the variable itself being marked as required, let's just say the variable is a box, okay? And I'm telling you, the only thing you have to do before you send this box to someone is something has to be in it. This is my requirement, okay? So I want you to think of the variable as a box. So when we mark required on this box, which is a variable, we're saying you have to put something in it. And so now, because John was like, I don't want to give you my last name, what's going to happen is the AI is going to go into this box and it's going to put something like NA. Now, guess what? This variable, this box, is not empty anymore. It technically has something, right? It doesn't have a last name, but it has some sort of thing. So this asterisk that makes it required just means that this thing needs to be filled out as a variable before it gets sent to make, right? Now, whether that information is actually going to be John's last name, that's completely up to John. All I care about is something needs to be here. That's what this means.
And Vappy will determine that.
The model itself will determine that. It might ask him twice for his last name. If he just refuses to give the last name, it might literally just put refused. It knows that it needs to put something in here. That because it's marked as required. So it's gonna do that. That's actually a really good question, by the way. But I hope this explained it, this little kind of like box situation. Everything is gonna be sent only once everything is collected. Meaning we have to bake that into the system prompt. Otherwise, what's gonna happen is it's literally gonna fire off after it collects every piece of information. It's gonna get a first name, fire off. Gonna get a last name, fire off. We don't want that. Okay? So jump into here and we're gonna say, I want you to make sure that the tool's name is literally referenced by its actual name. Okay, and I kind of forgot to tell this earlier. The tool name is info collect. Okay, and you can see that here. Okay, so we got to make sure that we tell it the actual tool name. Tool name is info collect, and those variables I gave you are a part of that tool. Very important. Make sure the tool only fires off and gets used when all of the pieces of information, both required and optional, are collected. Okay? Do not fire off the tool mid collecting info or when certain things were not collected. And we're going to say if certain pieces of info could not be collected due to any unforeseen reason, fill out the tools variable with NA, right? I was gonna throw that in there. So now it should give me a brand new version of this. What are you doing with your chest, bro? Stop. Shit looks crazy. All right, let's see.
My ass was muted. I was saying I was just sitting here focused.
All right, we're just kind of letting it cook up the tool section. Boom. Now that we have that, we jump here. We go to assistant. We go to our system prompt, Mr. Miles. And right between these two sections where there's dots, that's where we're going to throw this. All right. So now it has the tools and all of its roles. Fun. Look how huge this system prompt is. Now what we're going to do, Miles, is publish, top right, skip and publish. And one more thing I wanted to mention to you guys. I just realized today that GPT's brand new series, which is 5.4, has a nano and a mini. And if you guys can see, the latency on those is fairly quick. Okay, it's not too expensive. It's cheap. The thing about this is 5.4 is much better at handling tool calls and doing like more complexity of like understanding its system prompt than what we were originally going to use, which is the 4 series, because that would have been like the next fastest, cheapest thing. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to actually figure something out together for the first time ever. We've never used 5.4 nano. I'm going to select 5.4 nano, and we're going to see how it performs. And again, I'm actually probably going to use the 5.4 mini. I'll rather get 150 more milliseconds for an increase in quality. That's just my preference. I think it's worth it all the time. It's especially if it's milliseconds, it's not that big of a deal. 150. But 5.4 mini should handle the complexity of this system prompt and all the tools better than nano. So I'm going to click skip and publish here. We're diving into weird waters with the latency. And again, you can see the reason why it's 5.4 mini. But is it worth it? We're going to have to test it and figure it out, Miles. That's the only thing I can tell you. Let's go ahead and call this Chesterfield Services guy. And at the same time, what we're going to do is while we test out 5.4 mini, we're going to test out the tool call for it. Okay. I'm going to go to tools, make sure that info collect is selected. We're going to go to the info collect tool itself. And we can see that all of this is here. And I'm just going to simulate a conversation with it as I talk to it. And we're going to see how this thing performs. So I'm just going to go ahead and call it real quick. All right, boys and girls, here we go.
Hey, thanks for calling Chesterfield Service. What can I help with today?
Hey, I'm actually calling because I have a problem with one of my pipes.
Okay, what's going on with the pipe?
It's leaking water.
Got it. Is it actively leaking a lot or more of a slow drip?
It's actively leaking a lot.
I'm sorry you're dealing with that. If it's safe to do so, go ahead and shut off the water to keep it from getting worse. Is the leaking water causing any flooding right now?
Yeah, it's causing flooding.
I'm sorry, that does sound urgent. What's your first name?
It's Anmar.
Thanks, Anmar. And what's your last name?
Miles.
Thanks, Anmar. I've got this marked as an emergency pipe leak with flooding. I'm going to get you over to a real person right now so they can help as quickly as possible.
All right, thanks, man.
You're welcome. Please stay by the phone, and help should be with you shortly.
All right. So, a few things interestingly happened. You can see it used the tool, okay? It sent some information over. Now, it skipped a bunch of stuff, right? It skipped the address. It skipped the name on site. The reason why, Miles, is because this was by design. I told it this was very urgent. And you got to remember, in its system prompt, if something is like really urgent, it's meant to transfer the call to a human. So what it did is it literally collected all the information that it could collect before making that transfer happen. And you can see, look, boom, first name, Anmar, last name, Miles, reason for call, active pipe leaking causing flooding, job urgency, emergency, category, leak, and plumbing diagnostic, activate or active water leak from one pipe with flooding. Bro! I like this.
Perfect.
I like this. Look at this. We can have all this information in Make. And it used the tool perfectly. It had, like, this is everything we just configured from one call. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but the response time got slower, like way slower. Did you see how the pause between me saying something to it and it responding to me was way slower?
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. That wasn't like, it's not the best experience, not too natural. So let's go ahead and that's because we switched it to 5.2 mini. Or sorry, 5.4 mini. So we're going to try this test one more time, okay? We're going to go to 5.4 nano, which is the model right under it. And now we can see we're in the green. We're at 1100. We saved 150 milliseconds. Let's see how good that does, okay? I'm going to give it the same call again. And this time, I'm not going to be as urgent. I'm going to be kind of in the middle, okay? I'm going to see what happens.
Hey, thanks for calling Chesterfield Service. What can I help with today?
Hey, I got maybe a quick problem going on with my toilet.
Sure, I can help get you pointed in the right direction. What's going on with the toilet? Is it overflowing, not filling, constantly running, or is it draining / plugged?
I think it's like not running too much. It might be plugged. I don't know.
Okay, if it's possibly clogged, let's sort that out. Is the toilet bowl staying full of water, and does it seem to flush but then won't drain properly?
Yeah, it's full of water, and it won't flush.
Got it. So the toilet stays full and won't flush. Is it threatening to overflow at all, or is it just sitting full?
No,
without
it's not threatening to overflow at all. It's not a big deal.
Okay, that sounds like a clogged toilet that isn't draining / letting water go down. And since it's not close to overflowing, we can handle this as a standard appointment. Do you want to get it scheduled with a plumber? And first, what's your first name?
Yeah, let's go ahead and we can do the plumber. My first name is Anmar, and my last name is Miles.
Thanks, Emmer Miles. What day would you prefer for the appointment?
What about tomorrow at like 5 p.m.?
All right, Anmar, tomorrow at 5 p.m. works. Just to make sure I route it correctly. Is this happening on just one toilet? And how long has it been staying full?
Yeah, just one toilet, and it's been about 12 hours.
Thanks, Anmar. Just to confirm, it's one toilet that's been staying full of water for about 12 hours and won't flush. And you'd like us there tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'm going to get this queued up for our team. Thank you for calling Chesterfield Service.
All right. Happy about some things, sad about some others. Thing I'm happy about is the quickness was definitely a little bit better, right? It's not taking forever. Sad is, it's tried to schedule me for something without even getting my address. Now, I don't know if we baked address into it. So let's just open up real quick what it sent over, right? Anmar Miles, toilet's clogged, stays full of water, one flush, caller wants an appointment, low, medium, emergency, clog, one toilet, da-da-da. Did we ever configure address in our, that might be our mistake, actually. Let's open up tools. No, we did not. So that's our problem, brother. That's not the AI. We gotta add this. We're gonna say home address. And we're gonna say this is the address of the home of the this is the address of the home that the caller would like a tech to visit and take a look at what's going on. And this is not required, right? This is only a maybe because it's not meant to be a required thing.
Would you put that in the tool?
Yep, absolutely.
System prompt then?
Absolutely. So I'm actually going to copy this description. I'm going to go to the system prompt. And in the system prompt, I'm literally going to throw a section down here. And then I'm going, what was it? Home address. You can see I'm putting in the same exact format as the other ones. Do we have any first name, purpose, role? Let's look at job. So this is job urgency. Plumbing diagnostic. And then let's just do one more under it. I'm literally going to copy this, go under it, put a space. This is the address of the home. I'm going to change this up to home. Tech to visit to take a look at what's going on. Plumbing diagnostic.
It's not perfect yet. We have to test it out.
Yeah, we got to test this out. And then we're going to have to actually now wire it up to do some cool things like look at a calendar and transfer the call. Because remember, it's meant to transfer a phone call, right? Why don't we just do that real quick right now while we're here? It's actually very easy. It's extremely easy, bro. Let me show you how easy it is. If you go to tools and you go to predefined functions and you go to forwarding number and you type in a number, that's it. You're good, bro. What's your phone number, Miles? Just tell it to me. I'll blur it off. I'll remove it from the video. Just tell me your number. All right, so we're gonna use Miles's fake number to do this call transfer. So what is it?
560
505 600
0496.
0496. All right, cool. So yeah, we'll do that. We're gonna click publish, skip and publish. Now, I don't think we actually have to go into its system prompt and tell it about this. I'm pretty sure it might do it automatically just because we inserted this in its code configuration. So we're gonna test it out right now though. Either way, doesn't matter. I'm gonna recall it and then let's have the same conversation and see where it goes. All right.
Hey, thanks for calling Chesterfield Service. What can I help with today?
Hey, I have a clogged toilet.
Oh no, that's definitely inconvenient. Is the toilet just backing up and draining slowly, or is it overflowing or already filled up?
It's filled up, but it's not overflowing. It's not a crazy big deal.
Got it. Filled up, but not overflowing. We'll treat it as a clog just to be safe. What's the address where the toilet is located?
Why do you need the address for?
Great question. I'll need the service address so we can get the right tech routed out and make sure we have the correct location on the schedule. Are you looking to book someone, or are you just trying to understand what to do first?
Well, tell me what to do first, and then if I can't do it, then we'll book somebody.
Okay, I can give general guidance on what to do next, and if you're not able to handle it safely, we'll get a technician booked. First, does it look like the toilet is just fully stopped up with water sitting there, or is it actively rising at all?
It's not rising. It's just stopped.
All right, so it's holding steady and not actively rising. For safety, if you can do so without making things worse, you may want to avoid flushing again for now. Flushing can sometimes push it farther back. Is there any chance it's backing up from another drain to like a sink or tub?
No,
or
it's definitely not doing it.
Okay, so it seems contained to that toilet. Next, is there any sewer smell / gurgling, or is it just the toilet that's affected?
Smells like shit, man. It smells terrible.
Oh man, I'm sorry. If it smells that strongly, it could mean there's a sewer issue behind the clog. Let's move quickly. Do you want to tell me the service address first?
Sure. The address is 935 Holly Hills. And that's going to be Farmington, New Mexico, 57082.
Thanks. Just to flag something, Chesterfield Service is based in the greater St. Louis area, and
Oh,
I'm not
sorry.
seeing coverage for
I
Farmington, New
meant
Mexico.
yeah, I meant St. Louis, Missouri, not Farmington, New Mexico.
No worries. Thanks for clarifying. And I'm glad you told me about the strong sewer smell. That means we should treat this as more urgent. To get this set up correctly, can you tell me the full service address in the St. Louis area? Street, city, and zip?
It's 935 Holly Hills, St. Louis, Missouri, 63111.
Thanks, got it. 935 Holly Hills, St. Louis, MO 63111. Because you're dealing with a really strong sewer smell, I'm going to rate this as medium-high urgency. We should get a tech on it soon.
Could you
To get you
also
scheduled, what's your first name?
yeah, so my first name is Anmar, my last name is Miles.
All right, Anmar Miles, thank you.
Also, once you're done
For the scheduled
collecting, could you just could you transfer me to somebody? If the technician can come over tomorrow at 4 p.m., that'd be great. But I just want to talk to somebody.
Absolutely, Anmar. I can get you over to a real person once I've got this scheduled for tomorrow at 4 p.m. What's the exact date for tomorrow on your end? And just to confirm, 935 Holly Hills, St. Louis, MO 63111.
Yeah, that's gonna be April 9th. Miles, let me know if you get a call, okay?
Okay.
Show your phone
just
to the
make
camera.
Sure I've got it right. You said tomorrow at 4 p.m. and also April 9th. Do you mean April 9th at 4 p.m. or April 10th at 4 p.m.?
No, April 9th at 4 p.m.
Absolutely. Thanks, Anmar. I'm going to get you over to a real person to
Bro,
confirm the
get that shit off the screen, please, bro.
at 4 p.m. for the clogged toilet with a strong sewer odor at 935 Holly Hills,
Bro,
St.
stop.
Louis, MO 63111. 1 second.
All right, go ahead, man. Are you getting a call?
Transferring the call.
Yo, let's go. Say something.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. So look at this. That was probably one of the craziest tests that I could have given this guy. And our voice agent handled it literally perfectly. I'm going to expand all the information that was sent to our system. Look at that, okay? Clog and Miles, job urgency, reason for call, plumbing diagnostic, toilets fully filled up but not rising. Here's the address. Caller requested a technician visit tomorrow, April 9th at 4 p.m. This is sick, bro. We have officially connected our voice agent to collect a bunch of information and troubleshoot and do diagnostics and transfer calls. Bro, this is like 70% of a receptionist pretty much done, man. Let's go ahead and give us a round of applause, man. Let's go. Let's go.